Along your career, you become an international graffiti phenom. Can you please name some of the other countries and cities you visited for graffiti?
Yeah, man. Fortunately, in the States, I've got to travel quite a bit. I've been to New York, Baltimore, Miami, Nashville, New Orleans, Oakland, San Francisco, Albuquerque, a bunch of other random small cities on the way, you know. Fortunately, people have been nice enough to invite us to host. And then in other countries, I've gone to Brazil, and I got to paint there. I got to paint in Colombia, Mexico City, Spain, Greece, England, Germany. I've been really fortunate that I've gotten to travel several times throughout my life. And every time, whether it's a family trip or a work trip, or just a solo trip to go spray, I make sure to take a certain amount of time away from whatever I'm doing because I got to go spray. I got to leave my mark, you know. I love traveling, and I feel really grateful that I've been able to go to so many places and then also put up my mark while I'm there.
When you travel to places like Mexico, does their graph scene know who you are?
You know, fortunately, or I don't know if it's fortunate or not, but for whatever reason, Mexico has such a presence here in America. There's so many Mexican-American writers that they look at us all the time. They're very influenced by the American graffiti culture, and they pay attention, whether it be the internet or books or whatever. They know what's happening in LA, in New York, in the major cities, and they know who we are. So when we go down there, there's a lot of love and there's a lot of respect. And then when we see the quality and quantity of the work, the bombers in Mexico City go hard as fuck. They're really active and really dedicated group of dudes out there. So when, you know, as a traveler, when you go and you see these dudes hitting it so hard, so many innovative spots, really pushing it, it's kind of a really high level of mutual respect. It's like, oh, damn, you're the guys that influence us to go this hard. And it's like, damn, you guys are going hard as fuck. You know, it's like a really cool conversation that happens between Mexico and America.
Are there any differences between Mexican graffiti culture and the Los Angeles graffiti culture?
You know, the LA scene has more history. It's been around a lot longer, and it's got some influences even from like the Cholo writing style. And it's really, since LA is such a big city, it's got a deep history in a lot of different communities. In Mexico, it's a newer thing. It's been around for some generations, but some of the styles maybe aren't so developed. So obviously there's very beautiful artists, muralists, graffiti writers, but I feel the overall standard here is just a pinch higher. But what I do like and think is interesting in Mexico City is that they are very much more welcoming and accepting of female graffiti writers. And there's a very strong and active community of female graffiti writers in Mexico. There's some girl writers here in LA, but I feel like the guys kind of hate on them and don't really let them flourish. Out there, it's kind of the opposite. They kind of nurture them a little bit and kind of push them. And they go hard. And there's a much greater number of active girl graffiti writers. When you go out and you see who's bombing, you see a ton of girl names. And you don't see that as much here. So I think that's a really dynamic and interesting thing that's different from that culture.
Have you ever been arrested in Mexico for graffiti or stopped by the police?
I've been hassled by the police. They've never arrested me. Fortunately, in Mexico, things are a little looser. Graffiti isn't considered as big of a crime as it is here. So they'll probably try to shake you down. If you're clever, you can talk your way out of it and be like, man, just, you know, kind of fuck off, leave me alone. Otherwise, you know, they might take a few dollars from your pocket, but they're not, generally you're not going to take it to the station. Then again, like I said, it's kind of a lot less of a crime. A lot of my friends that do go out there and get caught, they let themselves go to the station and then they just pay the fine and they're back out painting that same night. So it's not as crazy out here. They don't try to build a case. They don't come raid your pad. It's not like that here. The only dudes, I've heard of that happening in Mexico, but it was for dudes that were hardcore subway bombers that were breaking into the subway station and hitting it hard. They're like, all right, we're going after you. But other than those dudes specifically, like, they don't care that much.
What has your experience been writing in Europe? Do they know who you are there? And what are the differences in their culture?
You know, European people are taller. So when I'd meet other graffiti writers, I'd always feel really short. Like in Germany and France, I was just like, damn, these motherfuckers are big. So culturally, they're just bigger people, I think. Other than that, yeah, I think overall they're aware of the American writers too, and there's definitely a level of respect. I think each country out there has a bit of a different scene. People focus on different things, whether it's trains or piecing or just hardcore tagging on the street. Like if you go to Barcelona, it's just grilled, kind of like Mexico City or New York. There's tagging and throw-ups on everything, and people are more like, obviously that's where Montana, the spray paint company, is from, so there's very beautiful, elaborate graffiti murals, but people out there are more like taggers, where other cities, you might see dudes that are more involved in like more elaborate bombing. It's a different culture. Every time, you know, in Germany, from what I remember, people don't even actually ever touch a spray can. You go to the store with the gloves on, you know, you have the guy put it in the bag, and every single time you touch the can, it's with a glove. They don't even leave one fingerprint on the cans because they have such an advanced police system, where other countries like Italy, they can't even afford to buff the trains. People just go over another piece and go over another piece because there's no money for that, you know? So it just depends where you're at. Like Greece is grilled, man. Greece has probably some of the most graffiti I saw anywhere in Europe. It was just crushed. And that was several years ago. Every time I see pictures of it now, it's worse. I mean, that's better. I don't know how you want to call it, but it's more bombed.
Do you encounter danger in Europe? How do the cops treat graffiti writers there?
Fortunately, I only had one run-in the whole time I was out there with the cops, and it was in Barcelona, and the cops, some hero, whatever, called the cops, saw me painting a spot. The cops came around the corner, actually pinched me, and I saw them come around the corner, so I walked and I dumped the paint, and I just kept walking and played dumb. And when I had an interaction with them where it was like a heckle, like a dumb cop and a not so dumb cop, and it was a young cop, but the older cop didn't want to hear shit what he said. And the lady on the phone is like, "We got the guy, that's the guy." And the cop's just like, "Shut up, shut up. Were you writing graffiti?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I'm coming home from a club, I'm a tourist." And I just talk shit. And then when like he would try to say some incriminating shit, I'd be like, "I don't understand your accent." I'd say it to him in Spanish, you know, "I don't understand your accent." And basically I played dumb for about 10 minutes until he just told me, "Fuck off, get out of here. I don't want to see you on the street no more." So fortunately, my interactions with the cops were minimal, and they were dumbass cops. I found that civilians out there cared a little more than out here. Like regular people on the street in Spain and in Greece, if they saw me painting, they'd like yell at me and talk shit to me. I wouldn't pay much attention to them, but I feel like out here people are more reserved. People don't want to be heroes as much. They don't know if you're going to punch them in the face. Out there, I feel like graffiti writers might be a little less dangerous, so they'll come like, "Hey, stop tagging on my fucking store," you know? I got a lot more of that in Europe than out here.